Welcome to Falls Count Anywhere, where the wrestling ring meets the heart. Hosted by the gentleman Jody Powell, join us as we dive into the latest pro wrestling news and rumors, from the electrifying world of WWE to the inspiring stories of wrestling for Christ. This is your all-access pass to the action, the faith, and the hope. This is Falls Count Anywhere.
Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to Falls Count Anywhere. I am your host, the gentleman Jody Powell, and with me, as always, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan, deep in the Buchanan Laboratory. Mike, what's up, buddy?
Not a whole lot, Jody. How are you, sir?
Man, I couldn't be better. I got to find out, though, what are we working on down in the Buchanan Lab?
You know, I know a lot of people this time of year are concerned about paying too much and eating too much. So I thought I'd try and develop a self-affirming mirror.
Oh, self-affirming mirror is what you look into it and it just tells you how great you are. Is that what it is?
Something along those lines. For people like myself who are a little bit follically challenged, I walk by and it says, "Cheer up, you're not as bald as you will be."
Well, that's true. Yeah, well, I got to tell you, I'm the type of person that would leave a self-affirming mirror speechless.
Oh.
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Yep.
That's right.
You
got to program that into the mirror, though.
Yeah, that's true.
There may be some copyright issues, but copyright schmoppyright, come on. Take a risk, buddy.
Part of the self-affirming stuff is you're paid enough to have said it in the first place. They probably copyrighted it or plagiarized it from you in the first place, so don't worry about it.
That's right. I mean, the only difference between you and them is that they've got some kind of legal mumbo jumbo that says it's theirs.
The only difference between me and them is they have talent and they have a mic.
Oh, come on. You've got a mic. You've got talent. We've got Falls Count Anywhere, and we've got to get into the WWE. You like that segue, don't you?
Absolutely. That's the segue.
Well, let's get into it, man, because I've got a question for you. I want three things from you, Mike Buchanan, Mr. Mad Scientist. I want to know in the WWE. And I'm going to try to do this. I don't know if I want to do it right. Wonk, wonk, wonk. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Hey, listen, I go all out. We spend all kind of money on our sound effects here, okay? But I want to know the good, bad, the ugly in the WWE, man. What do you got for us?
Do you want to do this back and forth, or how do you want to do this?
Let's do your good. I'll give you my good.
Okay. For me, the good, I try and do it in an Eastwood impression, but I don't know that I'm feeling lucky today. Do ya?
We're the lucky ones if you don't.
After that introduction, you're probably so right.
That is not part of this self-affirming mirror, though.
No, definitely not. For me, the third is that the Bloodlines don't have any titles.
Say that again. The Bloodline what?
Doesn't have any titles.
Oh, any titles. Okay. I thought you said diets. I'm still stuck on the diet, man. You've got me worried. The Bloodline doesn't have any titles. Tell me about it.
Well, they just lost the tag titles to MCMG, Motor City Machine Guns.
Yep.
So, you and I talked about, I think it was last week, about changes we thought might come at Survivor. So, without having those titles to bind anybody down, it opens up for more storyline possibilities. So I'm hoping that that'll help the story writers out. But
yeah.
It just makes it easier when you don't have to worry about where the belt is and who needs to keep the belt if you're moving people around.
You smell that? Smells like a swerve, Mike.
Well, I thought you were
Something's
saying
coming.
The Rock is coming or cooking.
Oh, well, that's coming at WrestleMania. I don't think it's coming at Survivor Series. I think he's confirmed that his schedule is too busy. He's too busy making terrible Christmas movies. I got to tell you, and I haven't seen it. I shouldn't say that. So my good, all right, I'm gonna give you a good with an asterisk, okay?
Okay.
My good is the breakup of the New Day. I've been clamoring for it. I've been wanting it. I've been asking for it. I want to see, number one, it has nothing to do with Kofi Kingston. I want to see Xavier Woods on his own with a little bit of an attitude maybe in maybe able to form some kind of team or faction with someone. I thought we were going to get something with Karrion Kross and his group, but maybe not now. I thought that would have been a great fit for Woods. Honestly, he'd been able to explore a little bit of that edginess and that attitude. But I'm looking forward to seeing Woods with that attitude, with that just fire and that kind of those heel vibes. But here's my asterisk. It's taking too long, man. Come on, break them up already. Enough of the backstage bickering, enough of that. We've seen enough, Triple Paul, okay? Break them up. Stop dragging this out. You know, he is famous. He is just, Triple H is famous for just writing these storylines that just take too long to get to. Some of them are great slow builds. Everything doesn't have to be a slow build. Break these guys up and let me see Xavier Woods go. What's your bad man?
Bruce Wayne.
Okay, hang on. I just had a little hiccup with the audio again. Do that again. What's your bad man?
You said Batman? I said
What's your bad man?
Bruce Wayne.
I didn't say Batman. I said bad man.
My bad is still the way it sits. I still don't see any purpose for them being on TV. I mean, they're fine enough in the ring on their own. They don't need some Clement or whatever else you want to call this to hide behind. Let him go out and beat the tar out. Yeah. They don't need to kidnap the Miz. The Miz is fine on his. Last thing he needs to be is a prop for yo-yos like the Wyatt Sits. Can you imagine the two larger, the Wyatt Sits versus the Viking Raiders?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need to, no, get rid of the Wyatt Sits. Way 100%. Past.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of overgrown teenagers playing Halloween. Come on.
Pretty much.
Let's not do that. Agreed. And it's just tainting anything Bray Wyatt ever did. My bad. The United States Women's Championship. They just introduced it, and it's already my bad. We don't need another women's title. Are you serious? Like, who's going to hold this? Is this going to be like Candice LeRae's title, or is this? Come on. I mean, for what the men's U.S. title, the history of that title, you've got, battles with Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff. You've got Dusty Rhodes. You've got John Cena that came up with the U.S. title. I mean, that has history. That has incredible value. It has a story behind it, and it builds characters. I don't think you have the roster for it.
Yeah,
you don't have the roster for it for these women. And honestly, unless you bring up a ton of women from NXT, no one on the WWE main rosters deserve it.
Let me drop a name on it for you that you missed in the history of the U.S. heavyweight.
Harley Race.
No.
Okay.
And you'll see where this is going probably as soon as I say the name.
All right.
The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, before he won the world titles. It used to be you had to win the U.S. belt before you won a title.
I'll drop one back on you. How about the battles between Greg the Hammer Valentine and Wahoo McDaniel? Greg Valentine broke Wahoo's leg. He made a T-shirt out of it.
He did, but here was my point. Rumors have it from different sources other than Boudreaux that Charlotte's coming back. What if Charlotte won the first U.S. title and then they elevated her back up into the main event for the world title?
But she's won like 14 world titles. Why are they going to put the U.S. strap on her? To me, that would almost be it's kind of like when they put the U.S. on Cena after he won all the world titles.
Yeah, wow. Fair point.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I somehow see a Bayley U.S. champion in the future, and I'm not loving it. What's your ugly buddy?
Orton. Whatever they're doing with Orton. If this is some kind of angle or program, it's bad. It's bad for the fans. If KO, whom I admire, botched a move, we talked about you want to protect your opponent so that they're not injured. Injuries do happen in wrestling. Let's not write that off. They do happen, but you want to work so that they don't happen.
Yeah.
So either way, whatever's happening with Randy, it's bad. It's ugly.
Yeah, it is ugly. It is ugly. And one way or the other, whether it's a work or whether it's real, it could be headed toward the end of his career, which is a shame. My ugly man is no PLE after Survivor Series until Royal Rumble, which is February 1st. We're going almost 2 months without a premium live event from the WWE. And I know we've got Saturday night's main event in December, but blah, man, come on. And why is a Rumble so late? I don't like that. Well, wrestling fans, that's all the time we have for the WWE Roundup. Stay tuned, because after these messages, we're going to talk WFC, Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour. Stick around. We'll be right back. Hello, wrestling fans. The gentleman Jody Powell here. Are you searching for an engaging speaker for your next church event, civic meeting, industry conference, or a company-wide motivational session? Well, look no further. I'd be honored to bring energy, insight, and inspiration to your event. With experience as a 2022 Toastmasters World Championship of Public Speaking semifinalist, I know how to connect with audiences, both large and small. Whether it's an intimate gathering or a packed auditorium, I'll deliver a memorable and impactful message tailored to your needs. Visit today at www.jodypowellspeaks.com to explore my keynotes, talks, and trainings. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Book me today. You'll be glad you did. Welcome back, wrestling fans, to Falls Count Anywhere. And I tell you what, Mike, let's jump into Wrestling for Christ, Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour. This past Saturday night, 3 incredible matches. And boy, did we really move ahead in the WFC World Heavyweight title picture, as we saw the Carolina Dreamer, the World Heavyweight Champion, Shane Austin, and Loaded Guns Ken Magnum come face to face for the first time since that street fight a few weeks ago, where Magnum came out, knocked out Shane Austin with a tape fist, told the Carolina Dreamer to pin him, and Dreamer wouldn't do it. He's too good of a guy. So what did Ken Magnum do? He took out a chain from his boot, knocked out the Dreamer, and pulled him on top of Shane Magnum. All just so he could get a little revenge on Shane Austin. He pulled him on top of Shane Austin. Also, he could get a little revenge on Shane Austin for what he did at King of the Mountain some 12, 13, 14 weeks ago. Be that as it may, they came face to face in Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour. And we saw our first match with Ken Magnum taking on Vinny Valentine. And I tell you what, Ken Magnum is every bit of impressive as I remember him being. He is just an intense competitor, Mike.
Yeah, he's got that power. And generally, the power has a tendency to work you up a little bit. You feel like you're indestructible. You're going to run through anything.
He looks like he could run through anything. He gives Carolina Dreamer a run for the money when it comes to being in tip-top shape. He's just that kind of competitor, which is going to be interesting. And made it interesting later on in the main event. Carolina Dreamer was giving a young guy a shot. Curtis Robinson was taking on Carolina Dreamer in a non-title match and trying to get a little proving ground there. And during the match, I've got the heavyweight title at ringside. Shane Austin comes out and wrestles the title out of my hands. He's going to abscond with it, like he's stealing it. He's out of there. Like, what's he doing? Distracts Carolina Dreamer. And Curtis Robinson, good for him, rolled him up. 1, 2, 3, got a pin over the champion. And then a Donnybrook broke out. I don't know who Donnie is, but the Brook was a brawl. As in the Brooklyn Brawler. But we had these 3 guys beating on each other. Had Shane Austin taken off with the belt. I practically had to threaten to fire Shane Austin to get him back in the ring, to give us the belt back, to put it back on the champion, the rightful owner of the WFC heavyweight title. And then at the end, the big announcement, Mike.
Yeah, I hear you had a surprise for everybody.
Well, it's the only way I think this thing is going to end, since Ken Magnum wants to stick his nose into the whole thing, as he did in the street fight. The only way to end it, a triple threat match for the WFC heavyweight title between Shane Austin, Ken Magnum, and the champion, the Carolina Dreamer. Now, a lot of interesting things here about these triple threat matches, Mike. Triple threat match is no disqualification. Also, you don't have to pin the champ to win. The first man to pick up a pinfall, no matter who you pin, will walk out of there the WFC heavyweight champion. So, it's not something that's necessarily favoring Carolina Dreamer, but I think it's the only way. And it was approved and it got the stamp of approval from the new commissioner, who no one knows who that is. This person is just communicating via text. I got a text from the new commissioner saying triple threat. Put them in the triple threat right now. And that's what I did. You'll see it on Saturday Night Praise and Power. I was looking at my phone when Dreamer attacked Ken Magnum again. But that was the text I got. Triple threat match for the title. Those were the words from our commissioner.
Hey, about your new commissioner, I hear that Shane O'Mac has left Hartford and maybe looking to run somewhere else. Somebody said AEW, but I don't think he'd want to do AEW. That's too much like 2001 all over again.
It's like a rewind of WCW. Shane O'Mac could be poking around here in Kings Mountain, North Carolina at Wrestling for Christ. You never know. It could be Shane O'Mac. It could be someone that's on the roster now. It could be a former legend. I've seen George South sticking around at some of these events, some of these live events, and just kind of keeping his eye on everything. Not really saying anything, but keeping his eye on everything. Now, the only thing about George South is that I'm being communicated via text, and I think he still has a flip phone.
Well, maybe as a grandson or something doing it. Wasn't he there Saturday with y'all at Kings Mountain?
Yeah, George South was there. He was there, so you never know. I don't know when we're going to get a look at this new commissioner. I don't know when that person is going to make themselves known. I also don't know what's inside the briefcase, man. The television turmoil briefcase that's going to be awarded to the winner of the television turmoil tournament. I just want to open this thing up so bad. I'm like a kid at Christmas holding his Christmas present, not able to open it. I want to know what's inside. But I'll tell you, someone else who wants to know what's inside is Nathan Sawyer. Mad Dog Nathan Sawyer is adamant on winning the television turmoil tournament, not necessarily for the contents of the briefcase, but for what he says, defending his yard, defending the ring. That ring is his yard, he says. He's the Mad Dog.
Well, every junkyard has to have a Mad Dog, so...
Well, we've got one for sure, and it's inevitable in every match. He's biting somebody on the finger. But Mad Dog Nathan Sawyer, I've got my eyes on Nathan Sawyer, Buzzsaw Sawyer. We talked a little bit on Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour a few weeks ago about the legacy that is the Sawyers. Their uncle, Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. Very, very successful professional wrestler, known for the powerful body slam, also known for the furry boots that he would wear in the ring. The Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. He was just as rabid as the Mad Dog Nathan Sawyer.
If memory serves, he was the flying headbutt off the top rope before Benoit.
Yeah, you said the B name. That hasn't been said in WWE in years, but yes, he was the flying headbutt of doom before it was really popular. You're right. But Nathan Sawyer is going to be interesting to see how he fares in the television turmoil tournament. It's going to be interesting to see if we ever find out when this tournament's going to happen. I want to know, man. I want to know when it's going to happen. We haven't gotten that yet from our commissioner, but I'm sure it's coming.
Well, you've done a couple of the qualifying matches, though, yeah?
We've only got the brackets. We've had a couple of Impress Me matches that got people into the tournament.
Impress Me.
Yeah. The Impress Me matches got a few of these folks into the tournament, but the brackets have come out and we haven't had our first match yet. So I'm anxious to see when that's going to happen. All of this and so much more on Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour, fans, can be seen right here on Abundant TV every Saturday night at 6 p.m. Well, stick around, fans. Coming up right after these messages, my favorite part of the week, Finding Tomorrow. We'll be back right after this. Oh, Hello, wrestling fans. The gentleman Jody Powell here. And I can't tell you how much I love this devotional written by my partner on Falls Count Anywhere, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan. He wrote this book called Feeling Down, Look Up. You want to get your copy today? It's on Amazon. So you're going to want to search for Feeling Down, Look Up by Mike Buchanan. And it's got verses, it's got stories, it's even got a place to make notes. It's fantastic. You'll thank me later. Hello, wrestling fans. The gentleman Jody Powell here. Are you searching for an engaging speaker for your next church event, civic meeting, industry conference, or a company-wide motivational session? Well, look no further. I'd be honored to bring energy, insight, and inspiration to your event. With experience as a 2022 Toastmasters World Championship of Public Speaking semifinalist, I know how to connect with audiences, both large and small. Whether it's an intimate gathering or a packed auditorium, I'll deliver a memorable and impactful message tailored to your needs. Visit today at www.jodypowellspeaks.com to explore my keynotes, talks, and trainings. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Book me today. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back, wrestling fans, and especially those fans of y'all that like this portion as much as Jody and I do. Gentlemen, you asked me a question right before we went on air, and I thought it was pretty interesting, and that's what we're basing this portion of the program on. Why don't you share that with our listeners?
Well, Mike, what I asked was, how do you go to church in spite of a lot of the people that you have to deal with? There's a lot of church hurt that happens. There's a lot of people that are there that can turn you off to going to church. And I know it's an epidemic. It's not to one denomination. It's not to one region. It's an epidemic throughout God's church. And anytime you have something that's run by people, it's going to be flawed for sure. But there tends to be certain people, that maybe even people in position of power, that are judgy, holier than thou, kind of thinks, their armpits don't stink. You know what I mean? How do you do that?
Well, let me throw in a quick caveat here that may offend a whole lot of people really, really fast. You said God's church, and first of all, it is God's church. I'm irritated when people, pastors or whoever, say this is my church. No,
yeah.
You're at the wrong rally. Point of phrase. But be that as it may, I think where it happens more than anywhere else, unfortunately, is here in the United States. We don't have persecution. We have it easy. But the way you go back to them is the same way we have to go back to Christ. We have to do it with forgiveness and humility, and we're human, so it hurts, but we have to try and find a way through the hurt. And the only way through the hurt is through Jesus. But it is not. I've been there. Jody, it's not. I'd rather take a tombstone pile driver in some of these cases than to have to go back. Yeah.
Yeah. And it can come to the point where it interferes with your ability to actually worship. And maybe that's on me and or the person, right? That our focus has shifted off of God, off of the purpose of being there, and onto the people that are around us. But it's just really hard. And it's something, quite frankly, that's been a struggle of mine. And a struggle in such a way that, I've experienced the bully pulpit. I've experienced, the demonic deacons that will hide behind the cross while they're trying to tear down the church, or to make it into something, I shouldn't say tear down, but maybe make it into something that's more for personal gain or for personal glory instead of what the church is there for. And, it's a lot of times, we just leave, because I'm not going to subject my family to that kind of environment. That's not what church is about. But then how do you go to the next one and be vulnerable and you know, and I'll admit, you know, we've been to the coffee bar churches, you know, where you dress in jeans and you wear the plaid shirts and you sing the cool hip songs and you drink coffee the whole time you're worshiping. And you know, it's fine. It's great. It's really a great experience, and we had a wonderful time there. But those same people are there. It doesn't matter. You know, people are just broken. And so it's just really a struggle for me to figure out how I can get plugged into a church and really overcome these justice issues that I have. Like my expectations of people in church are higher than the expectations I have of people in the world.
Yeah.
Should be or shouldn't be, I don't know, but they are.
Yeah, I expect, you know, that if you're calling yourself a Christian, you don't call yourself a Christian necessarily with your words. Call yourself a Christian with your actions. And I know I fall short. Boy, do I know I fall short.
Boy, me too, man. Me too.
St. Francis of Assisi, I think, said it. Preach the gospel unto all men. If necessary, use words. You know, but I wrote something for an online magazine not too long ago. And basically, it's what we're talking about right here, Jody. And the human tendency is to label somebody. Because if you can put a label on them, you're capable of A, judging them, and you're also capable of B, saying, I'm better than you are. For whatever reason. I wear a better suit. I have a better voice. I have a better car. I'm holier than you are. I'm in church 79 hours in a day. You are scum. And I can judge you.
Yeah.
And Jesus never intended, not once did he ever intend for his church to be that way.
Right.
But it hurts to try and deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's tough too, because when you see it, it's one thing when it happens to you. I can take a lot of things, right? Mm-hmm. And I can forgive for a lot of things. When you see it happen to your wife, when you see it happen to your children, that's when it becomes really tough. You know, and the judgment of the church, the judgment of the so-called Christian wing of whatever politics there are, you know, it has reached a point where it's like, I don't recognize these people that call themselves Christians. And so how do I get past that? It's a struggle, and it's something that I know a lot of people struggle with. Church hurt. It's not fun.
Well, I'm going to do it a little bit early tonight, but it comes down to what I've talked about often. You know, don't watch out. You know, the people around you, look up.
Yeah.
You know, so many people that I've seen have fallen into that category because they're following the person behind the pulpit instead of following Jesus.
Yeah.
So here's the verse that you and I were talking about right before we went on the air. It's in Ephesians 4, verse 32. Well, I'll start in 4:31 because you found it on the internet this way. It says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you. It ain't easy, but we try to do it.
It ain't easy, and that's my prayer, selfishly for me. And it's my prayer for you. If you're seeking to find tomorrow and you're struggling because the people around you that are supposed to be lifting you up are pushing you down, then as Mike says, don't watch out, look up, because that's where we'll find the answer. Mike, I appreciate that. I appreciate you pouring into me there. And fans, again, if you need prayer, if you need individuals to pray for you, if you need to share hardships or triumphs that the Lord has blessed you with, please give us a shout on email. You'll see the email right there at the bottom of the screen. Well, fans, that's all the time we have on Falls Count Anywhere. Stay tuned, because the Clash, Jeff Dixon, Chris Whaley, is coming up right now on Abundant TV. Hey, don't forget to watch Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour, 6 p.m. Saturday night, right here on the Buddy TV.